One country, one party, and one system. That's the new mantra for the Communist Party, with one leader, of course, Xi Jinping. The Communist Party is the absolute power center of China, a party whose lapses gave the world a pandemic. It now wants to strengthen its grip beyond mainland China. Our cover story tonight is about the National People's Congress, or the NPC, the annual gathering of the ruling elite of China. This is China's biggest political event of the year, something that the Communist Party uses to declare its agenda for the year ahead. The NPC was supposed to happen in the month of March. It got delayed due to the Wuhan virus. 2 months later, China hastily put together this event just to show the world that they have the outbreak under control. Today was day one. China is facing pressure on many fronts, so the Communist Party decided to put up a show of strength. Chinese Premier Li Keqiang opened the session. Yes, the Premier, not the President. For the NPC, it is the Premier who speaks. Though Xi Jinping was seated for the entire affair. It was Premier Li who delivered what is called the Government Work Report. This is basically the agenda for the Chinese government for the year. There are 5 big takeaways from today. 1. China declared victory against the coronavirus. 2. A controversial new law to control Hong Kong. 3. No GDP targets for this year. 4. A hike in China's defense budget. And 5. The promise of big spending. But all the announcements carry one underlying message. The Communist Party of China is in charge, and its agenda has not been derailed by the coronavirus. The first big takeaway, China has declared victory against the Wuhan virus outbreak. Premier Li said that China has achieved a decisive victory against the disease. Clearly, this is propaganda. China is still fighting the coronavirus. There is a wave of fresh cases. Another province has been put under lockdown this week. China is just trying to look strong by saying it has defeated the virus. Takeaway number 2, and this is a big one. China will tighten its grip on Hong Kong. The plan is to impose a new law. It comes with sweeping security measures, measures that allow Beijing greater control over Hong Kong and a power to crack down on anti-government protests. There was also a message for Taiwan. The Premier dropped the word peaceful while referring to the reunification of Taiwan. Earlier it used to be peaceful reunification, peaceful no more. The message is clear. China wants to curb the autonomy of Hong Kong and Taiwan, and it will not hesitate to use force. Takeaway number 3. For the first time since the 1990s, China will not set a GDP target. Beijing cannot make a prediction yet. The Wuhan virus has destroyed businesses. It has disrupted supply chains. It has brought the world to a grinding halt. China says it is difficult to put a number to the growth right now, mainly because of the uncertainty in the foreign markets. A situation that was created by the virus from China. Now, China wants to capitalize on it. So it will issue bonds worth 1 trillion yuan to raise money.
The deficit to GDP ratio this year is projected at more than 3.6%, with a deficit increase of 1 trillion yuan over the last year. On top of this, 1 trillion yuan of government bonds for COVID-19 control will also be issued. These are extraordinary measures for an unusual time. This 2 trillion yuan will be transferred in full to the local governments.
China says it will spend more to revive the economy. Where and how, no one knows for sure. But there is one area that will get a budget hike for sure: defense. China is setting aside $179 billion to spend on defense. That budget is nearly 3 times of India's defense budget. Despite the coronavirus hit on the Chinese economy, China has given its defense budget a hike. It is higher by 6.6% compared to last year. Chinese defense forces have remained active despite the pandemic. They have stepped up their activities in the South China Sea. They're active in Taiwan. They're active along the border with India. It seems the virus has only added to China's military aggression. And this budget only goes on to show that Chinese defense forces will remain proactive. Finally, takeaway number 5, the plans for the economy. Very important. There is an air of mystery around this. China is not saying much about its plans for the economy. Growth has contracted by 6.8% in the first quarter of this year, but some targets have been set. China wants to create more than 9 million jobs going forward. Last year's target was around 11 million jobs. So job creation target has dropped by 2 million. For the first time, we have heard of treasury bonds in China. China plans to raise money and to spend it to revive its economy. Is the mighty China running short of cash now? We can't say for sure. China's economic data is world famous for its unreliability. But we know that China's banks are under a lot of pressure because of debts. So to sum up, the National People's Congress was high on slogans, low on substance. The military budget gets a boost, but growth may not take off just yet. China is still struggling to control its virus, but it wants to focus more on controlling Hong Kong and Taiwan. As a leader who's facing the biggest political test of his career, both at home and abroad, Xi Jinping's positioning is very, very clear. He wants to say that his plans are on course and that he is completely in control of the situation. The world must brace for a more aggressive, a more abrasive China, using offense as its strategy of defense.